Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It truly is a historic situation that we're dealing with in the state of Tennessee. For those who don't know me, my name is Mark Nagy. I'm the Regional Communications Officer for the Tennessee Department of Transportation in Region 1. Region 1 incorporates East Tennessee and Upper East Tennessee. It's a 24 county region, and certainly the counties in Upper East have taken so much of the brunt of this recent storm. But this is something that has affected so many towns, cities, all across East Tennessee and other parts of the state as well. At this time, we're joined by the Deputy Commissioner and Chief Engineer of the Tennessee Department of Transportation, Will Reed. And Will, if you can just kind of give us an overview on where things stand about 48 hours since the storm hit East Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I want to acknowledge the fact that there are ongoing recovery efforts as we speak right now. Our thoughts and prayers are with all the folks impacted by this and all the communities impacted. So I want to make sure that everyone understands that a good bit of the work we're doing right now is assisting local emergency management and first responders in debris removal and recovery efforts. So again, our hearts and prayers go out to all those folks that have been impacted, but by what truly is, as Mark said, a historic event. So let me give you an idea of kind of the scope of the assets on the ground as far as TDOT is concerned right now. We have over 250 Region 1 employees alone in the field. We also have over 60 folks from our other three regions statewide, maintenance workers, as well as bridge inspectors on the ground here in Region 1, in addition to assets from all of our technical areas, including design, structures, environmental, geotechnical, materials and tests that are here helping assist the region in getting contracts ready for when we're going to be able to go out and repair some of these facilities. I want to make sure everyone understands we are still in the assessment phase here. Although we are getting some contracts ready for repair, we are still in the debris removal and assessment phase. We have inspected over 100 bridges in the last 36 hours over 7 counties. We still have hundreds to go. We are also working to assess the magnitude of this rainfall event. What I can tell you at this point, based on looking at the gauge data and the work our hydraulic engineers have done, this event is in excess of a 500-year event, which what that means is, for a matter of context, we design our interstate bridges over hydraulic crossings for 100-year events. So these are truly historic numbers that we are seeing. The repair contracts that we are working on right now, we are taking a prioritized approach, with the thought being our main focus is reconnecting the communities that have been severed by the fact that our system and local roads are impacted. So that is the level of priority we are going to put on those repair contracts getting put on the street. It is a dynamic situation. As these water levels begin to fall, we are finding additional issues that we are going to have to address, but we are working around the clock with bridge inspection crews as well as recovery teams to assess the level of damage that's out there. We are also working closely, as I mentioned, with those local emergency management associations, as well as TEMA on the state level. I want to thank TEMA and the National Guard, and frankly, all of the local first responders for working with us. We'll continue to do that as needed. In addition to the human assets that we have on the ground, we've also deployed, we're going to use some of our TDOT fleet of planes to get aerial photography to help assist in this, as well as the use of drone technology to be able to do assessments. Right now, where we are, we have 27 sections of TDOT, the TDOT system roadway sections that are closed. 14 state bridges closed. 5 of those are completely gone. We're still assessing the local bridges. Those have been impacted as well. We have, to this point, done a lot of pre-clearing and debris removal that will continue to be ongoing. One of the things I want to mention in terms of the severity of this rainfall event, it's been talked about and reported out there at this point that there were over 1.2 million gallons per second of water coming over the Nolichucky Dam at one point in this storm. As a matter of context, the peak daily flow for Niagara Falls is right at 700,000 gallons per second. So we are almost double in this event what is the peak flow for Niagara Falls. So that gives you a sense of how large of a rainfall event that we're looking at dealing with here. So just to give you a quick idea of some of the level of priority, obviously we are focused on our interstates, but our other state routes and local routes as well. I-40 between mile markers 443 and 451 between Tennessee and North Carolina, working very closely with NCDOT to get that section open. I-26 between mile marker 40 and 43, also another area that is a big focus for us, as well as State Route 81 in Unicoi and Washington County, which is closed at this point too. And that list continues to grow and will continue to grow. I will tell you that we anticipate having some of our first repair contracts on the street as early as tomorrow. So these efforts are ongoing at this point. Mark, I'd be glad to take any questions about the status of where we are right now.
Yep. Before we take questions, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand in the Teams chat, and we'll get to those one by one. One thing to note for, I know we have a lot of TV stations and newspapers, websites joining in on this call. There's a lot of roads, a lot of bridges that simply are impassable right now. And our TDOT folks are going out there and taking pictures and taking videos of these locations, of our TDOT crews that are working. And remember, we have TDOT folks from all across the state. It isn't just maintenance workers here in Region 1. We've got folks from Region 4, Memphis-Jackson, Region 3, Nashville, Region 2, Chattanooga. And the Cumberland Plateau. So we have folks from all across the state that are doing their part to try to get these roadways open as quickly and, most importantly, as safely as possible. So all of those materials, pictures and videos, we're going to have accessible at our TDOT newsroom and also on our social media sites.
Right. And I'd like to encourage everyone, I should have mentioned, make sure you look at our SmartWay app. If you have the ability to get connectivity, our closures are updated on there. So if you have questions about route connectivity or things that are closed, please check our SmartWay app. We're keeping that up to date in real time as well.
Yep, that's accessible at smartway.tn.gov. Obviously, don't use that when you're behind the wheel, but it's a terrific resource for folks to use. And our TDOT social media channels on Twitter, that's @myTDOT. We're also on Instagram, on Facebook as well. So make sure you check out those channels. My Twitter feed specifically, which is MARK and then NAGI TDOT. So that's @MarkNagy TDOT. We're putting tons of videos and video and pictures on there. Also, we've got interviews with our TDOT folks. Those are going to be accessible over the next day or so. So you can use those for your purposes as well. Anything that we share on any of our social media sites is available for use by any media outlet. We just ask for a TDOT courtesy if that's something that you can do. So it's going to be a long process, and we will be here throughout to do everything that we can to get this thing documented and most importantly, to get these roadways and bridges open as quickly as possible. So with that said, if we have any questions, again, please raise your hand in the chat and we will get to you one by one. So just hang on for a second.
Yep, I am looking through and I do not see any hands raised. Oh, here, I've got one right here. Arena, go ahead if you want to unmute yourself. I have you here that you should be able to speak.
Thank you. Am I audible? Sorry.
Not a problem. And if you could identify what station you're with as well, please, if you don't mind.
For sure. I'm with Knox News. Thank you for providing this information. Could you speak a little bit more into how you're prioritizing kind of those rural roads versus some of the bigger highways that were hit? What's the criteria for how things will be fixed?
Yeah, as I said, it's at this point, it's really about priority. The priority is really driven by the connectivity. We're looking at not just the state system, even though that's obviously our primary responsibility. We are working with those locals to make sure that, you know, if a repair that is required on the interstate is much more involved than one to a local road, we want to be able to get those local roads open so that emergency vehicles, things to support those communities have access to those facilities. So we're taking a holistic approach here to make sure that those communities are not cut off. So it really is a case by case basis.
Jay, I see your hand is raised. If you want to go ahead and unmute, I have you ready to go.
Jay Quaintons at WJHL. So with I-26 closure, do you have a time frame for reopening it or repairing it? And then, or is there also in the meantime, is there a way to get access maybe around where the closure is until complete repairs can be made?
So we do not have a time frame at this point. That is actually what myself and many of our staff are upstairs working on right now, trying to evaluate that the contract limits as far as what we feel like we can get done in a very short period of time. We will have more information about that as it becomes available. But I want to again stress that we are still in. Our main priority right now is on safety and welfare of the public, which means we are putting a lot of resources to inspecting bridges. That we have had a tremendous amount of bridges, both on our system as well as the locals that have been impacted here. And that is the biggest risk area that we are putting a lot of resources to, in addition to clearing debris to help local communities and emergency management associations with recovery efforts. We will have more information as it becomes available on time frame, but I would say these are some significant impacts to these facilities. Our infrastructure has really taken a hit in the East Tennessee area as a result of these floods.
Holly, go ahead. I have you ready to go.
Hi, so my question, I guess, obviously repairing things out east, I'm News Channel 5 National, sorry. Repairing things out east is going to be the most important priority. Do you guys see anything shifting long-term within the state of statewide projects in other areas as resources need to be focused on that emergency situation?
I think it's probably too early to say at this point. What I will say is we pride ourselves at TDOT on having a plan when it comes to managing situations like this. A good example of that is starting even before it was Thursday afternoon or Friday, we mobilized our strike force teams, which are groups of maintenance and construction personnel that we have prepared to respond to incidents like this. So we already budget for that type of thing. What you cannot budget and plan for is if rainfall events that are this significant. Will we look at how that impacts in the future? Obviously we will, but that's going to have to be something that's more of a long-term issue. As far as having contracts in place, we are in a good place right now. We have the support of a governor and a deputy governor or commissioner that both believe very strongly in the importance of infrastructure and have put us in a place where we have the tools at our disposal. At this point, though, it's a matter of prioritizing and helping with those recovery efforts and getting in there and doing the groundwork we need to do to get those contracts in place.
Kenneth, go ahead. You're still muted. If you're asking if you want to unmute yourself, see if I can help you. Okay, well, while you're getting situated, I did see another hand. Let me toggle back through here.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ken Little with the Greenville Sun. Could you address damages specifically in Greene County and primarily bridges? And you had given some figures in terms of overall damages to bridges. I didn't catch those. And could you please re-identify yourself as well? Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Will Reed, R-E-I-D. I'm the Deputy Commissioner, Chief Engineer. We can get you some more specifics on Greene County. I have a very long list here of bridges. What I mentioned to you was 14 state bridges on state routes are currently closed. 5 of those are completely gone. When it comes to Greene County, obviously the 107 bridge that many people have seen, that bridge is compromised due to flooding, as well as the State Route 340, 350, and 351 bridges. Also some local bridges there in Greene County that have been compromised. Again, those assessment efforts are ongoing. I want to make sure that all of your viewers and subscribers understand that if you have a question about a local bridge, please reach out to your county highway officials or county elected officials. We are in close contact with them as we get bridges inspected. And obviously, please check our SmartWay system if you have questions about routes that are closed. I think I hit all of yours. We'll continue to have updates. This is ongoing on all of the, not only Greene County, but the other affected counties as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ryan, go ahead. I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, Ryan Willis with Knox News. Obviously, safety is the top priority, getting to people who need that help. But I did hear some reports yesterday just about some work going into helping commercial vehicles get through in terms of just supply chain stuff, especially when some of these stuff that might be coming in from other places might be important to those people here. So, are there any sorts of efforts in terms of coordinating with continuing to make sure commercial vehicles are able to access and get where they need to go and get the items that people need?
Well, again, the key to those vehicles is the state system, particularly the interstate system. As I mentioned at the top, two of our top priorities right now are I-40 between North Carolina and Tennessee, as well as the section of I-26 that I mentioned. Those interstates and large state routes are key to moving those commercial vehicles. But again, if a repair on an interstate facility is going to take a substantial amount of time, and again, we are triaging that as we speak, and we can get a local road or a smaller state route open quicker to give connectivity, that's the way we're looking at prioritizing. So we truly are in a life safety mode first right now. Don't want to diminish at all the importance of that commercial activity, but we want to make sure that these communities are not cut off from the essential services they need.
Audrey, go ahead.
Hi, Audrey Mayer from News 2 in Nashville. So you mentioned 5 bridges are completely gone, 14 state bridges closed. Do you, this might be too soon to say, but do you have any estimated time of when those might be reopened again?
Well, and no, the answer no. We're working on that now. I will tell you that we are fortunate to have additional contracting vehicles provided to us through the TMA that was passed back just in 23 last year, that we're going to deliver some of those in an alternative means. What that means is we won't take as much time to do a full set of design plans. We will engage the private sector very quickly with a limited amount of information to be able to get that work started as soon as we can. One of the things we have done is I have been on the phone with my counterparts in other states, including Florida and North Carolina and South Carolina, some states that unfortunately are well accustomed to dealing with things like this, on how they the best practices they use to deliver this work. So we are borrowing from our friends, and to their credit, they have been very, very helpful in getting us information we need that we can use to address our system quickly. So the point being, we are using everything at our disposal, and even some from our neighbors, to be able to move as quickly as we can. We will have more estimates soon on how quickly those can open. But the 5 bridges that are gone, again, those bridges are truly good. They're not there, so it's rebuilding from scratch. So that will take some time.
Senator Massey, I see your hand is raised.
Yes. Hey, Will and everybody, I just wanted to thank you and all the TDOT staff for all the extra work you're doing, how hard you're working to get our infrastructure back up and running. As chair of the Transportation Committee, and then also as a member of the legislature, we appreciate you, and we're going to support all your efforts. But I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lady Massey. We appreciate that very much. You are a big supporter of us, and always there for us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Senator Campbell just expressed the same thank you in the chat as well.
Thank you.
Ditto.
I'm just looking through to see if there are any other media questions. Let me see. First name doesn't come up, but Reeves comes up. Do you have your hand
Sherry.
raised? Hi there, go right ahead.
Yes, my name's Sherry Reeves. I'm with Main Street Media in Middle Tennessee. This may seem like a very non-important question with the recovery efforts that you're having still taking place, but fall breaks are coming up. There'll be a lot of tourism and that kind of thing heading towards the Gatlinburg area. Besides the eastern side of that area, what major roadways could be affecting the tourism that would be heading that way so people will know?
Yeah, what I would again point you to is our SmartWay system. Anything that I mentioned early on, we've completed 100 inspections in the last 36 hours. We've got hundreds more to go as far as bridge inspections. There have been some significant amount of or significant rainfall totals seen in that area as well. So we're going to continue to do inspections. But the best thing you can do is check that SmartWay app. Follow folks like Mark on social media. The minute we get information, we will be posting it. But I will say that you need to take the time to do that. This is a significant event that has really had frankly a devastating effect on some of our infrastructure. But at the same time, we also have some of the best engineers in the country at TDOT, as well as some of the best maintenance workers. So I can assure you, it's all hands on deck. We will get everything open as soon as we possibly can.
I think, oh, Robin, go ahead. I just saw your hand pop up. You are still muted. See if you can unmute on your side. Okay, well, while we're waiting, why don't we go to Senator Campbell?
Hey, just thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate everything you're doing. I know this has got to be really tough. I'm sure you're burning the candle on both ends. So when people in Nashville or this area ask how they can help, a lot of people and organizations are wanting to do what they can. And obviously, it'd be better if we could streamline those things and know where help would be best utilized. So what is your advice?
You want to?
Well, I mean, I guess the big thing is there's so much misinformation out there. So any resources, I'll just start with saying any resources that folks are looking to donate with, please do your due diligence and make sure that they are credible organizations, because I think that this is the perfect recipe for scams to take place. So that's the main thing, is make sure it's a credible organization.
Yeah, and thank you, Senator Campbell. Appreciate your support as well. I would say that, I mentioned them once, but it's worth mentioning again. Director Sheehan and Tima are an excellent team when it comes to coordinating all the necessary resources for events like this. They have been extremely helpful to us and everybody across the state. That's one resource that I would look at. They can at least point folks in the right direction. They have their finger on the pulse of all the different arms and legs that an event like this has.
Senator
Gotcha,
Campbell,
thanks. I joined late, so I apologize.
Alex Dennis. Senator, it's Alex Dennis. I can call you later. I've been on a phone call with the Red Cross as well, who's trying to do a command post there. So when I get all that information, I'll make sure that's distributed to you all as well. Senator Massey, I see you have your hand again.
Yes. Also, they had said that the East Tennessee Foundation, which deploys resources, cash resources to all those counties, was really the first organization. If somebody wants to send cash, I know they're kind of distributing it and working with it. And then I'm sure there's going to be other groups when we'll see other things. But that is a very solid organization that's been around for forever, that does a great job. So I'd highly recommend them, because they were the first ones that Tima recommended.
Thank you so much. Robin, I see that you were able to get yourself unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, thank you. I'm calling with WOKI, and I just had a question. You said, I believe, 5 bridges are completely destroyed. What is a general estimate on the time to replace a bridge? And also, what advice do you have, or what do you have to tell people regarding? I know a lot of people are curious, and I know you probably have people there who maybe don't need to be. Do you have any kind of advice or recommendations for people who don't need to be in these areas?
Yeah, I'll answer the second part first. I highly recommend you stay in tune with your local emergency management association. They will have the best information on the ground about what areas are safe and what are not. Please tune into that. Please, to the extent that you can, check in on your friends and neighbors if they don't have connectivity via cell phone or otherwise. But I would stay in tune with those local officials. We are doing that very thing as well to make sure that that we have our finger on the pulse of what's going on at a local level. I'm at this point, I'm not going to make any estimates on closure time for the bridges that have to be replaced because there is still information to be gathered. But this is not going to be, for the bridges that have to be completely replaced, this is not something that can be done in a matter of days or even weeks. So we are looking at some long-term recovery. What we will do is look at areas where we can, if we can put temporary measures in place. But again, it is too early to tell. In fact, we are still waiting on the water to go down in some areas to see the extent of the damage. But what all residents of East Tennessee, as well as the state as a whole, can be confident in is we are going to move absolutely as fast as humanly possible to get those things restored. So you can you can rest assured that's the case. And frankly, our commissioner and governor has given us every resource we've asked for to be able to make that happen. So we're appreciative of that.
Thank you.
Audrey, I see you have another question. I think if we take 1 or 2 more, we'll probably be good because I know you guys have to get back to doing what you're doing. But Audrey, go ahead.
Sounds good. Thanks. Audrey from Nashville again. You mentioned scams. Where are you seeing the most of those? Do you have any advice on what to look out for and any common pitfalls people should avoid?
Yeah, anybody who goes on Facebook these days and any of the social media channels, you'll see, people doing screen grabs of different things that are obviously untoward. The advice that I would have is kind of what I said before, is make sure that the organizations that you are donating to are credible. American Red Cross, places like that have literally years and years of positive reputations, because it's just so easy for folks, unfortunately, to be fooled. So just do your due diligence and make sure that you're putting your money and your resources to the right folks.
All right, all. Thank you so much for joining us. I know, Will and Mark, you have to get back to your cleanup efforts. Again, this is Alex Dennis. I'm in charge of public affairs here. We'll be continuing to send out press releases daily for an update for you, but just a reminder for media, all of that footage and B-roll that is there is for your use with just a credit for TDOT. And if you need anything additional, feel free to email myself or Mark and we'll get it to you. Thanks all for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.